A crack of emerald light tore through the sky above Metropolis. The very air trembled as a figure stepped through the shimmering tier in reality. She was tall, regal, and crowned with jagged shadows that seemed to drink the daylight. Hela, the Asgardian goddess of death, had crossed the cosmic divide and arrived in the DC universe. Her gaze swept across the world below, a world teeming with life. She could feel its energy, its pulse, like countless glowing rivers flowing across the planet. But amidst that vibrant tapestry, one light shone brighter than all the rest. It was powerful, pure, and utterly alien, Kryptonian. Before she could even contemplate her next move, a streak of blue and red sliced through the air, halting in front of her with impossible speed. Supergirl hovered there, her iconic cape fluttering in the sudden stillness. Her eyes, blue as the earth below, were narrowed. Her voice was steady, but a tense energy radiated from her. "You don't belong here." Hela merely smirked, a cruel and knowing smile. She raised a hand, and the same unsettling green energy that had ripped open the sky now swirled around her fingertips. "I go wherever life needs balance," she replied, her voice a silken thread. "And you, little Kryptonian, shine far too brightly." Without another word, Supergirl lunged. She moved like a thunderbolt, a blur of motion that sent a shockwave rippling through the clouds. But Hela was ready. With a graceful, sweeping gesture, she conjured a barrier of shimmering emerald force. The moment Supergirl's fist connected, the impact echoed through the sky like a colossal drumbeat, shaking the very foundations of the city below. The battle had begun. They became a maelstrom of light and shadow, hope versus inevitability. Supergirl's fists, charged with solar power, met Hela's dark magic again and again. Each strike erupted in a brilliant, blinding flash, painting the heavens in throbbing hues of blue and emerald. Hela was a whirlwind of deadly grace. With a mere flick of her wrist, she summoned an army of obsidian blades, constructs of pure shadow that danced and spun through the air, seeking their target. But Supergirl was a master of the skies. She weaved and dodged, her movements fluid and precise, blasting through the dark weapons with bursts of concentrated heat vision. Gathering her strength, she propelled herself forward, her body igniting with the sun's power. Their next collision was a supernova of golden light, an explosion so intense it turned the clouds into a canvas of radiant gold. The force of their celestial duel sent them plummeting downwards. They crashed onto the streets of an evacuated section of Metropolis, the concrete shattering under the impact. Supergirl landed hard, but was on her feet in an instant. Even as debris rained down around her, her first instinct was to protect. She effortlessly lifted a wrecked car, moving it out of the path of a collapsing building. Her focus split between the fight and the city she swore to defend. Hela descended far more gracefully, her feet touching the pavement without a sound. Her eyes glowed with an eerie green light as she observed Kara's actions. "You protect, even in the middle of battle," she mused, a hint of something unreadable in her tone. Supergirl stood defiant. "That's what hope does." A shadow of a smile touched Hela's lips. "A shame," she replied softly. "Hope is the first thing I erase." She raised a hand, and the world itself seemed to respond. The light around them dimmed. The sounds of the city faded into a hush, as if the very planet were holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. But Supergirl would not be intimidated. With a cry of pure defiance, she launched herself forward. The ground cracked and splintered beneath her takeoff as she channeled all her strength, all her solar energy, into a single, devastating punch. The blow connected with a sound like tectonic plates grinding together. Hela staggered back, a flicker of surprise on her face, but only for a moment. Then, she smiled. It was a genuine, terrifying smile. "You are strong," she conceded, her voice calm, but not eternal. Realizing she couldn't win a battle of attrition on the ground, Supergirl made a decision. She shot upwards, a golden comet ascending into the heavens, forcing Hela to follow. They left the atmosphere behind, the blue jewel of the earth glowing serenely beneath them. In the silent vacuum of space, surrounded by the cold light of distant stars, Supergirl prepared for a final gambit. She closed her eyes, reaching deep within herself, pulling every last ounce of solar energy her Kryptonian cells had stored for a moment just like this. Her body ignited. A radiant, blinding aura of pure golden power enveloped her, her hair floating like a halo of light. This was her strongest form, the embodiment of her full potential, the last hope of a world hanging in the balance. Hela simply floated before her, her expression calm, almost serene, utterly unfazed by the incredible display of power. Supergirl didn't hesitate. She charged, a living star streaking across the void. As the gap between them closed, Hela whispered, her voice echoing not in the air, but in the very fabric of space. Life bends. Death endures. With one final sweeping motion, Hela didn't attack. She simply unleashed. A wave of cosmic shadow expanded from her, not with violence or fury, but with the quiet inevitability of a dying star. It wasn't a blast of energy, but an absolute negation of it. Supergirl's brilliant light crashed against the tide of darkness, pushing back with all its might. The conflict was blinding, a war between creation and finality. But slowly, agonizingly, the light began to falter. The golden aura flickered. Supergirl's incredible power sputtered, her strength draining away like water through cupped hands. Her light, once as bright as a sun, dimmed to that of a candle flame fighting against a storm. Her momentum ceased. Kara dropped to one knee in midair, her breath coming in ragged gasps, her body trembling with exhaustion. The fight was over. Hela hovered above her, her expression unreadable, all traces of her earlier smirk gone. "You fought with honor," she said, her voice surprisingly soft. "You defended your world." She extended a hand toward the defeated hero. There was no cruelty in the gesture, only a profound sense of finality. "I take no pleasure in this, but your light must rest." A gentle wave of shadow washed over Supergirl, enveloping her completely. Her body went still, her eyes closed, and she began to float silently in the endless dark, as though peacefully asleep. Hela watched for a moment before turning her gaze back toward the earth. Her voice, now devoid of emotion, carried across the void. "The last hope has fallen." Her shadow swept across the sky as she drifted downward, a dark goddess descending to claim the world that had just lost its brightest defender. The Earth's horizon glowed behind her silhouette as she spread her arms wide, a queen claiming her new kingdom. A new order begins.